here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of the CGL NA Diamond Tier Grand Finals. I am Two Try Hard Ray, joined here by Big Sam. And how are you feeling tonight, Big Sam?
I can't complain. It's hockey playoff time, NBA playoff time, CGL playoff time. School's about to get out. It's summertime. Big games on the horizon. Big match feels. What can you say? I love this time of year. The competitive person in me just loves this absolute time of year.
Could not agree with you more. We got a banger of a matchup for you guys. We got Bingus versus Primal Warriors. And while we're talking about this team, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket and see how these teams have gotten here. Bingus has ran their way through the tournament, made it all the way to the grand finals, and on the way, knocking down Primal Warriors to that loser's bracket. But Primal was not deterred by that. They worked their way all the way back to the grand finals, and now they seek revenge.
They do. So far, these two teams have played 3 times during the season, with Bingus winning 3-0, 3-0, and then last game, I think to shocked everybody, Bingus won 3-2. So Primal, under Five's leadership, I don't know what happened with his coaching strategy or meta, but hey, they came together and the last games were competitive. So you're thinking you're close to beating them. This time it's for all the marbles. This is not for seeding. This is not for winners losers bracket. This is for the whole shebang. So in these type of games, anything can happen. Everything's on the table. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I could tell you I was talking to some of the players from Bingus just because I know them from being involved in the plat tier previously before they all moved up to Diamond. And they talked about how much Primal has gotten better through the season, and this could be a tough matchup for them. So while we're talking about it, let's go ahead and bring up that roster for you guys, starting with, I believe we're starting with the Bingus roster. And just to give you guys a little bit of background, if you guys are, Owl enjoyers, think Toronto Defiant. This is the power of friendship. There are, some dominating teams who have won and placed well in previous offseason tournaments. They've all come together, a bunch of friends together, wanting to dominate and have some fun in Overwatch.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's playing with your buddies, having fun, but also winning games. Both of these teams have a really solid lineup. As now we're gonna look at the Primal Warriors lineup.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and pull that up for you. Again, a very strong roster. There's a reason both these teams have matched up in the grand finals and why their last matchup was so close. And Primal Warriors all about that improvement, like we mentioned, 3-0, 3-0, 3-2. And, with all that adversity they've been through, they've gotten better. And now this might be their chance to really take their revenge and have the last laugh on Bingus.
Yeah. So since both teams know each other real well, do you think we're gonna see mirror comps, or do you think we're gonna see maybe two different sets of comps go head to head, Ray?
I think it's gonna depend on the map And I especially with Bingus, they have all really big roster, and they like to adjust it map to map. So they're very flexible. So it's going to be tough to see with a smaller roster like Primal. They might, be more prone to playing one certain comp or another. But we're going to have to see. But we do have that first map pick. It was the pick of Bingus as they were awaiting in the grand finals, and they have chosen to go to Oasis.
Oasis is very interesting. You get the brawliness, but then you have the high ground on some of the maps. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we're going to see from these two teams, depending on what the map is, what we're going to probably see team wise. I could see a Winston and a Kiriko Lucio dive. I could see with Briggs Rally getting adjusted slash fixed. I could see a brawl, Ramatra brawl versus Rhine brawl. Ramatra wins that most times. We could see maybe Arissa come out, and on the DPS line, I'm expecting probably Sojourners to go head to head. She's still super powerful, so we shall see what we're going to get.
Yeah, I think also given the tier that we're in, it's console diamond tier. We're not always necessarily going to expect to see like the owl meta comps, where you basically play Winston almost all the time, unless the map dictates a more brawly composition. But just to let you guys know, we will be starting on University, which to me, that's just going to scream brawl. Just, Reinhardt's Ramatra's just going at it in a brawl fest.
Yeah, probably gonna see Ramatra v Ramatra brawl. I'm expecting that, and Brig with either Lucio, Kiriko, either one of those two. Your DPS, I'm assuming we're probably gonna see the May Reaper, May Cassidy Reaper, maybe a Sojourner or Widow or Hanzo in the back sniping. It's gonna be interesting to see what we're gonna see.
Yeah, just bear with us. It seems like they're handling some stuff behind the scenes. The map's going to have to be reset. But again, talking about Bingus specifically, the fact that they've come together and they've it's almost like Avengers Assemble, taking some of the best players from a team who won the Ramacha Rumble and then a team who got, I believe, second or third place in the other tournament, the Turkey Tussle is what it was called, and bringing them together under one group of and then, like I said, you throw in that power of friendship, and it just makes sense why they are so talented, especially with the depth of their roster too. As we are going to get you guys into this lobby very shortly. Now that we've reloaded the lobby, uh, yeah, after we've reloaded the lobby, it is now going to be downtown as it appears right now. Are you back with us, Sam?
Yeah, you got real staticky real quick. I'm just staring at the screen, and the stream froze up, and I looked over, and it was like literally went from the game was on Twitch to going to commercial break.
All right, bear with us. We are going to, there's some problems for players loading into the lobby. Bear with us. We're going to take a quick tech break, and we'll be right back.
I'm not crazy, Malin.
And we are back, folks. Sorry about that, but we have everything settled now. The dust has settled. The skies are clear. It is daytime on Oasis downtown, and we got two teams running two very different compositions.
We do have two teams running two very totally contrasting styles. and pretty much going to be a war of attrition. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so just looking at these compositions, basically this Reinhardt Brawl is going to want to run and get into the face of the Zen Brig, while the goal of the Ball composition is to dive upon targets. The problem is, who are they going to dive after, Sam?
I'm always a guy, you dive on the supports, you take out the healers. Like you would dive the Kiriko, dive Lucio, take out your big healing. And then when that done, it's just divide and conquer, get your picks, get your elims, and follow through your team damage and win your team fights.
As we see Primal Warriors taking this high ground advantage, as they're going to drop down to the point now as it has unlocked. They don't want to give away a free cap, as the Maywall has been invested. That's a very big cooldown to keep in mind for, as the hack comes in onto Catfish King, and Akari has taken down Alexin in the process. That's a key opening pick for Bingus, as they are looking for more, but in the meantime, the cap has gone to Primal Warriors, even though they are down one. That's very unfortunate for Bingus, but they are finding the picks. Ill is now down, and that is just going to be a quick cleanup fight for Bingus.
That was a good engagement right there. Kind of stunned, caught some people off guard with it. But when you run your dive, that's what's going to happen. And it's just good divide and conquer, good pickoffs. And that's what you want from your Wrecking Ball and your 2 DPS to dive in and pinch around and get your elims.
Yeah, as we see Catfish King going over to the Orisa, which I think is going to be better, but the mines have been invested, and they have taken down both of the supports. What a clean, quick, concise team fight win for Bingus, and that is the goal of these Wrecking Ball compositions. They don't have a whole lot of damage, so they need to get in there with team focus fire and win quickly.
Yep, that's what you want to do, is just like get in there, hit your damage, get out, do your damage, get out, do your damage, get out. You want like precise as possible, fast as possible. You want your coordination to be crisp, and that's when you're going to get your big pickoffs. That's when you're going to use your ults and use your ult economy to your advantage, and that's how you're going to win team fights. And that's the first step of winning the series and winning the championship.
Yeah, now they're going to be walking straight into this EMP from Rose, and there it is. It's going to connect to 3, but where is the follow-up? It appears to be none that we can see, as they are using this jump pad to their advantage, but Atomic has found the Mei. Ill is now out of this fight, and there goes any chance of being able to throw a blizzard into this fight, as Bingus is continuing to assert dominance on the downtown, as Atomic Man goes in for the slam, looking for more picks. Akari with the tactical visor finds one. Alexin is not to be misinterpreted, as they now use a tactical visor of their own, but it is all for naught, as Bingus now gets us into one fight territory.
Bingus so far looks like they are well coordinated, like a well-oiled machine with their attacks, the ult placements, the dives, the mines, the tag visors. Everything just looks so crisp for them.
Yeah, Ill gets to come back in this fight, has a blizzard. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of stationary targets to throw at. You got to probably throw it at these supports, but so much pressure from this minefield is not allowing Ill to throw these ultimates in. The Kitsune Rush does come onto the field, and it's going to add a much-needed sustain for the Warriors, but the Transcendence to keep a lot of this team alive. But the Terra Surge is there, and they're able to find Neptune, which is a big pick, but you've lost Ill, who had that blizzard online. Alexin, however, is now in the backline, found Atomic and Shadow, as picks are continuing to go back and forth. What is going to happen here? The point, in the meantime, has flipped for Primal Warriors, and they are going to save it for now.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't want to do, is when you have an ult, you do not want to lose that ult or get killed right before you can use it. You want to make sure that person's got some sustainability / resource pumped in. You really wanted your blizzard right then and there. But we'll see what Primal Warriors can do right here.
Yeah, as Alexin has his pulse bomb in their back pocket, trying to look for a stick target, is going to throw it, but does not get any dice with that throw. And now we get a hack onto Ill, and they get so low they need to stay alive and use this blizzard. Blizzard is now thrown onto the field, but they have gone down to Atomic Man. They did not get anybody in that blizzard. Akari on the soldier, looking for picks and more, as they need to get Alexin down on this tracer. They are doing one crazy stall job. He has gone down, and it is starting to look bleak for Primal Warriors, as Bingus has found the point flip, and I don't think anybody's going to be a touch. That is a point cap for Bingus.
Yeah, I don't think one's going to be the Sombra might touch, but I think that's going to be it. Yeah, that blizzard missing and getting nobody, you hate to see that. that hurts from a DPS perspective and a team perspective. Like, you really needed that Blizzard to connect. But, you know, it's one map. It's something, maybe a coaching issue or maybe a shot call issue you can fix and see if they can be more coordinated or work kind of more together as a cohesive unit. But this series is far from over since the last game did go 5 maps. So we'll see what happens this go round and what these two teams want to run on this map.
And it really felt like they used that Blizzard to try and stop Atomic Man, but that's not how you need to use the Blizzard against that composition. It has to be thrown on those supports. As we now move to University, as we talked about, this is the map where we expect a brawl, and we see Atomic Man going over to the Reinhardt, and they are going to play May Reaper, so lots of damage. Catfish King is going to have to be very careful on this Orisa to not allow them to get isolated by these May walls.
No, you're not. Those May walls, they can isolate a tank or a DPS or a support. That is the last thing you want, is to be caught off with that and be separated and just get picked off one by one. So you got to be very, very smart when playing against the May.
Yeah, as Rosie already found a headshot, right click onto Rosie, as now Ill is trying to find a target onto the backline, but it's just not going to matter. Very quick first team fight win, and considering that Primal is running the Moira, they're the ones who need to be winning these team fights quick.
Yeah, because Moira can get her ult built up so fast. Because you can just throw a healing orb out and heal your team, spray them down with your healing ability, and it's a lot of resource, but a lot of sustainability. The Moira is so key and can build up ult very, very fast in these engagements.
As we see Ill swapping over to the Echo and getting a Mercy pocket to go along with it, I think they've realized there is no hit scans on the side of Bingus whatsoever, so Ill might be able to get a lot of value in the skies as Catfish King has to back up with that pressure onto his shield from the May and the Reaper, and oh man, that was really close from that Echo getting caught in that small room. They find the pick onto Akari, and this is green lights all go for Primal Warriors. They are favorable in this matchup, but it is now traded. Atomic Man very low, had the anti-nade onto him, and they do find him. Primal Warriors need to get the cleanup as the Blizzard comes in from Rose, but is it enough? It does not feel like it, especially now that Catfish King has been rezzed. Primal Warriors looking to finally flip this point as this swap over to the Echo is paying dividends. But not to be outdone, Ill's been taken down, and Catfish King has gotten Rosie. Man, these trades are going back and forth, but this is one crazy stall job coming from Bingus. The amplification matrix is out. The Shatter finds two, and they are finally, after a lot of an investment, going to take the point.
Yeah, that was a drawn-out team fight, drawn-out engagement after engagement after engagement. Yeah, they flip it, but it was so many resources and such time was killed off the clock. So if you're Bingus, you did a good job of milking the clock as much as you can to shorten the game as much as you can. And you're like one team fight, one good coordinated assault from recapping the point and winning this.
Yeah, as this ultimate advantage for Bingus is going to be very strong. They do get the copy onto the May, but can they build up to a Blizzard? So far, they don't have all this. The Death Blossom comes in, gets rid of the copy and the Mercy, and then eventually the Echo Akari putting the team on their back and basically wins that team fight solo there.
Yes, that's one thing with the Death Blossom. You can teleport, behind them and on top of them, and then just come in, Death Blossom, and if there's no stun there, there's no anything knockback, it is just KO after KO after KO, and your Reaper's going to regain all that health if he loses any. So that is one thing that you do not want, is Reaper after that to be full health. So good job by Bingus on there.
As they get the touch just in time, but Ill, who swapped over the Bastion, is now down. The Shatter comes down, finds three, but there's not a whole lot of follow-up. They do find Akari, but it might just be too little, too late. As I say that, the picks from Alexin, who's on the Sojourn, is coming through these railgun shots. The amplification matrix is thrown in by Neptune, but all there's left is him and a May and a prayer. But the Blizzard is there, and because of the zoning of it, they get the map win. Bingus goes up 1-0.
That was a very good competitive series. That was a very good ult at the end of that. Good zoning by them. Here you see the play of the game is the Wrecking Ball, which was Atomic in the first map. Very good tank play by him. Very, very solid, good shot calling tank play by him. Hats off to him.
Yeah, I mean, Bingus played incredible. No, I mean, Primal also did a very good job. It just felt like Bingus was a lot more judicious with their ultimates and were a lot smarter with them. I just think back to that blizzard on downtown that did not go onto those supports that probably should have been. I'm sorry, not downtown. It is called City Center. I'm thinking of downtown Busan. Anyway, the blizzard just did not go onto those supports. Looked like they were trying to catch Atomic Man out, and it just was not the right call. Maybe if you would have thrown that onto the supports, you could have sustained just a little bit longer and gotten yourself possibly winning that sub map.
Yeah, like one thing with the blizzards is like, look at the blizzard that Bingus used to win that last round. What did you notice? It was near the Lucio. The Lucio touched her, went near it, was getting frozen. Then there was going to be the pick off on Lucio, and that's a speed boost in and out of fights and a big giant heal boost. So that's what your point is. You need to target the supports. Target the ones that are going to give your team the most resources. Don't just throw it out there and try to get a DPS. You target the supports, then that's how you cripple the team. You pick them off. You win your engagements. You don't take any casualties. Then you just go ahead and prepare for the next fight and say, how do you want to engage it? So hats off to Bingus for that great round.
It also just felt like it was perfectly placed to deny the Lucio being able to touch point and the Tracer as well. Just a bravo zoning play from Bingus, as we now know that we're going to hybrid next. The map pick is Primal's Choice. We have it in, and they've decided to take us to London. We're going to King's Row.
Goats Row, for those like us that have probably played since beta. I think King's Row is pretty much, we can all mutually agree. We can have our opinions on certain heroes in the game. We can have our opinions on certain metas, but I think everybody can collectively come together and say King's Row is pretty much by far everybody's favorite map. Like, it's just one of those. And if you're in scrims, somebody's going to ask for King's Row. It's the one everybody's played. This is pretty much going to be, I want to say Ryan v Ryan, but I can also see Ramatra v Ramatra. You're pretty much going to see Brawl with a Lucio Kiriko, maybe a Lucio Ana, the Ramatra Ryan, and then I could see Sojourn coming out. I could see a May coming out. I could see Reaper coming out. I could see a Far Mercy coming out. This map is so cool and it's so iconic. You could see almost any team composition come out.
Yeah, to me, King's Row, everyone likes it because even if you're not super proficient at the brawl, I mean, it allows you to play so many different types of compositions: Winston, Wrecking Ball, whatever flavor you like. We do have quite a few swaps coming in from both sides. It looks like for Primal, I saw Nth Beans was in and Fives was on for the DPS, and for Bingus, they're bringing in Master Bacon, who's a proficient Reinhardt player. So wouldn't surprise me if that's what we're going to see, but only time will tell. But I'm very excited to see how this series develops heading into King's Row.
Yeah, I believe Fives was coming in too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So we're going to get the Fives versus Bacon tank play. So the weird thing is, when I watch games and I go back and watch the footage and just break down the film, a Winston Brawl, if done correctly, can beat a Rhine Brawl. A Ramatra Brawl can beat a Rhine Brawl. So to me, if just say a Rhine's not working, does one of the tank players swap over to the Winston, or they swap over to the Ramatra for that brawl? And if so, which one do you think we will see?
If I had to guess, I feel like probably the Ramatra is what we would see in these stages of the game, especially on King's Row specifically. It's just like, if you can't diff the other Rhine, just go Ramatra, because if you play the Ramatra composition to its full potential, it will beat out that Reinhardt composition. Reinhardt cannot do anything about that Nemesis Foreman uh, uh, Ramatra being able to punch through those shields, and the Ravenous Vortex can just be so devastating to not allow a Reinhardt to rotate properly.
It can, and then let us not. And I have seen many times a Nanoed Annihilation by itself has gotten many team kills. You Nano Annihilate, you speed boost with a Lucio, and just, it's so much damage, and it's so hard to out heal that unless you have like a May wall to separate. It is very, very hard to come unscathed with 1 to 2 pickoffs. Most times you're looking at 3, 2.5, 3, 4, 5 pickoffs. So we shall see what happens right here.
That we will. It's only going to be a matter of the next 30 seconds. We do know defensively what Bingus is looking to do. They are going to play the Reinhardt, but this is very interesting. So they have Door 21, who's coming in on the support, and Akari is on the Soldier 76 with Rose on the Hanzo. So what I mean, it's kind of perplexing because with a Reinhardt, normally you'd play more brawl heroes like a Reaper or a Mei. I get the Hanzo, but the double hit scan is a little perplexing to me.
I think the Alexan on the Bastion is going to surprise them if they're not expecting anything. So that's going to be a huge, how do we adjust to a Bastion coming at us?
It doesn't matter as the res has come in, but Nth Beans has also been taken down in the sniper duel by Rose, as now we see Akari who's trying to stop this Bastion from applying pressure, but he's already found Rose, and that's going to force the back of his Fives has gotten extremely aggressive on this Reinhardt and is forcing Bingus back. But there will be another fight ensuing before they can take this point, as Bingus has did the smart thing and backed up and is looking to regroup.
If Bingus is playing smart right now, and Five's just being aggressive, is what you want as a Ryan. So, from the last game, good by Primal, good for them to get it right off the bat. So that's what you want. So let's see what they can do right here.
Yeah,
Get some momentum on their side.
I think all things considered, that was pretty smart. Bingus knows the power of being able to hold in the archway here. But it doesn't look like they are pushing up to be able to take this hold. I'm very confused. They're looking to just play the bookstore corner. That archway is such a powerful spot to hold.
It is. That archway is so powerful. Such a huge, that's your first huddle when you're fighting in this little segue right here. It's like, can you get momentum right here with all the curves and turns and the high ground, and also the different places you can hide behind and get cheeky angles at.
Yeah, as we see the hit scans now popping off for Primal Warriors, as Akari and Rose both found 2 picks in that fight, as now they are forcing Fives to completely back out and reset. But they got a lot of distance on that car, and Bingus, however, in the meantime, has built up to 5 ultimates.
Yep. Looks like both teams are probably strategizing right now to figure out how they want to engage on the offense and defensive side. So it's going to be interesting to see who tries to engage first and which angle they try to take and how they want to try to approach it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Rose has found Beans once again, but Alexan has found the response kill, and they have both teams have the res available to them, as the Nano has come into Fives on both Master Bacon and Fives, and the Shatter unfortunately fails as Akari gets Candy and Door gets a res. That's a huge swing, but the artillery strike has found Akari, but Doors found Alexan, and I think that's going to pretty much wrap up this fight. But Bingus unfortunately allowed Primal to get the cart all the way to the Foundry corner, so it's going to only take one more fight to bring this cart home onto point B.
It will take just one more fight. It's just been good engagements by these teams, and it's just both teams are trying to out-strategize each other. They're trying to outdo each other, and they're trying to outplay one another. So you respect it from both teams, and you can see both these coaches have put so much emphasis into this game and trying to install a game plan for their team's best chance to win.
Yeah, as this Dragon Strike from Nth Beans is going to have to come through big, as we see Rose throwing out their Dragon Strike, but unfortunately does not find anything, as Akari is picture-perfect position on the high ground, gets a kill, doesn't even need the tactical visor, but is going to pop it anyway and find even more, as Bacon finds the charge kill onto Fives. That is going to be all she wrote for that fight as we approach 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, Akari on that high ground, able to get 2 pickoffs immediately before the Ryan engage. You're already at a 5v3 disadvantage, and all of a sudden, just to jump down, the 2 other the pick on the tank, and the Mercy just had to fly back and get away. So that's not what you wanted for Primal. But Bingus, good job. Akari, good job on the soldier and the high ground, getting early pickoffs and helping his team to victory.
As we see fives on this Winston, Alexian has found Akari. That's the opening pick that Primal needed. They just have to make sure they deny the res, but they have lost their Winston and their Hanzo. This is devastating for Primal. They've swapped over to the Kiriko, but it seems to have not mattered. Fives was out of line of sight of Candy, and that pretty much sealed the deal.
Yeah, for any team, it is you want to put your resources into your main tank or your tank player to keep up and do their stuff. But you lose your tank right off the bat. That is so much space the other team can just take so much advantage of. So huge plays right there.
As we see a couple swaps coming in for Primal. Nth Beans is on the Reaper, and Candy has moved over to the Moira, and they have lost Rose. But once again, they have to make sure this Mercy cannot get the res. They got to be guarding it, as it looks like they are forcing Door 21 back this time. So very well played by Primal. 1 minute left on the clock. They got to find these kills and this cleanup in order to send this point and get it delivered. As we see Winston, Fives is trying to apply the pressure. We get Alexian with the tactical visor looking for kills, but is being forced to retreat as the nano has come in. Akari finds Alexian mid tactical visor, but it's been traded for Akari and Neptune, but the res comes in from Door 21, making things difficult for Primal as Fives has been anti-nated and forced to not be as aggressive, as they're going to use the sound barrier to try and win this fight, as Rosie throws the dragons onto point, hoping to split off Primal, but they are all on the right side of this point and all together trying to finally get this down. But Akari has found Raze and it's not looking good. Shatter is out. It finds Alexian, and now the kills are all coming in Bingus' favor as there's only 15 seconds left on the clock.
It's just huge, massive engagement. It's just every ult being used. Both these teams are just fighting. One of them wants to try to get this point. The other one's trying to hold as best as possible. This is what you love to see. This is so incredible to watch.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it just looks like it hasn't been enough as Rosie gets 2 exiting kills, and that is it for this Primal Warriors attack. They pretty much get to the end of point B, but could not get it delivered, as Bingus puts himself in a great position to go up 2-0 in the series. All they got to do is get the point through point B.
Yep. But, one thing we've learned from years of playing and watching these games, it's easier said than done. Honestly, I like Fives aggressive as the Rhine on that first attack when they first got point. I think the aggressiveness kind of got Bingus a little bit. They didn't expect it. Versus now I'm kind of wondering, will Bingus go, hey, let's try to match the intensity. Let's go ahead and see what we can do right here. So I want to see if it's going to be aggressive v aggressive, and see what these two teams are going to try to do to one-up each other, and who's going to get the first big play right here.
As we see Primal Warriors on this defense who need to tie up the series, they're going with a lot of damage. They are playing not only the Bastion, but they have Nth Beans on this Junkrat. So Master Bacon is going to have a very tough time of conserving this Reinhardt shield. It's going to be under constant pressure. Even if you make it work through the turret form of Alexian, you still have constant Junkrat spam that just threaten your shield break.
It is. And then you get the concussion mines that can launch it in midair. So if the Rhine goes good in midair, there is no shield right there. And it's going to be maybe a fire strike unshielded. So it's going to be very huge to see the chess match between these two teams and these two players.
Yeah, they do have a Genji, Akari, to try and help deal with this turret form coming out from the Bastion as the nade comes in onto, and the anti gets on a Fives. That's a huge nade coming out from Door 21. The res comes in and they found Akari. Primal Warriors, what a great response in response to the Rhine going down.
That's a huge pickoff right there. Huge team fight, huge engagement. Good win right there for Primal. That's what you wanted, to someone got hold last time, so good for them. Let's get some momentum going, and looks like the Junkrat's paying dividends.
As we see now in a 4v5, a big nade comes in onto Alexin and 5. They cannot find the response kills. They did not have the follow-up, but they do find Alexin at the end of the day, and they just do not have the players to go get to the point. They get the DMEC onto Master Bacon, who is now swapped over to the D.Va, but it does not matter. Bingus has taken this point, and now they have a clean an impressive 5 minutes to get this point to the end and set themselves up for a dominating 2-0 start to the series.
Yeah, 5 minutes is an eternity while playing this game, so that is a very daunting task for Primal to hold right here. Bingus right now, they probably have some ideas in their head how they want to engage and how they want to win these engagements and how to go up 2-0. So it's going to be interesting to see the chess match and what's the first big move coming up right here on Bingus.
Yeah, we talk about now that they're on this D.Va composition, you have that defense matrix, able to eat a lot of that damage, and Rosie has found Alexin with the recon arrow. Rose is just continuing to find these pickoffs in the, for Primal. It's just at the worst times, as now Fives is forced to back up, but Beans has found Rose, so this gives them some much needed pressure off their shoulders as the shatter has come in, but an anti has fallen onto Fives, and there are trades coming in as we are nearing the end, but they found the DMEC onto Bacon, which forced the D.Va bomb, and they're going to use it, but Akari has found Nth Beams as Fives is swapping over to the Desperation Zarya pick to try and deal with this, but the Nano Blade is out. Akari has found Raze, and it is looking very bad for Primal Warriors as we round the final corner.
Yeah, right there, the Nano Blade is one of the most OG moves in the game. That is such a big damage dealer. I've seen a lot of teams win with a Nano Blade. So, I mean, right now, little by little, win, team by team fight, win, and elim by elim, it's getting closer and closer to that, and Bingus is so close to going up 2-0.
As the Nano Zarya comes into play, as well as the Tyre. Akari has found Nth Beams, and the Tyre only finds the damage on to the D.Va mech. It couldn't even get the D-mech in. However, like I mentioned, Fives is on the Zarya, and Master Bacon can do nothing about this primary fire, especially if Fives can build up the beam, and it has now found Akari. This Zarya swap is working out incredibly for Primal Warriors. I feel like Bingus needs to think about making some swaps.
Yeah, a fully charged Zarya is such a big, massive damage that very few people in the game can match. If that's the case, you may want to try to maybe get a Sombra to hack, or maybe try to put more resources in, or maybe try to go straight brawl to see what you guys can do against it. So you need to shut down Fives in order to win this, go up 2-0. If not, Fives is going to hold steady and keep doing lots of damage, and they're going to tie it up 1-1.
As Candy found the pick onto Rose, who swapped over to the Tracer, and Master Bacon is on that Reinhardt, as you talked about, maybe going brawl. We're seeing that coming out. Unfortunately, there is no Lucio for Master Bacon, and that's normally a very important component of a Reinhardt-based composition, because Reinhardt needs to be able to move around, take space, and be able to back up if needed. And Fives, in the meantime, has found the pick onto Akari. I feel like for Bingus, you gotta reset, have a full 5, and go back into this fight with your full team assembled.
Yeah, you're right, 100% correct. You need to quit getting picked off. You need to say, okay, we need to engage with a good plan. What's the plan gonna be? Talk to your shot caller, look at your ult economy, and figure out what you have versus what you think the enemy has, and you need to go from there. And just come in as a 5v5 and try to straight up get the one big pick off to turn this fight over.
And that's the pick they needed. Akari getting Raze. So there goes all the main heals for Primal. They still have a Moira, as Raze now swapping over to Lucio to get back faster. But because of the defense Primal has had, the cart has backed up very far. So it gives time for the respawns to come in as Fives goes down, but Alexin is on Neptune in the backline. But it doesn't matter. The picks for Bingus are here. The pulse bomb is placed on Master Bacon. It doesn't matter. Akari gets a double kill with the Helix rocket. The tactical visor is there, but it does not matter. They will get this point across the line. Bingus is now up 2-0 in the series.
That was nutty as I've ever seen. That was clutch as I've ever seen. That was just a straight up press Y, press triangle. Let's try to get the shatter off. Let's try to get these pickoffs. It started with the Ana going down. Without that Ana, it was over, and Bingus then just capitalized hard on that and now they're up 2-0, 2 maps away from the championship.
Yeah, I mean, what a great start for this Bingus squad. And now all the pressure is on to Primal Warriors. In my opinion, I think this next map is a must win. You cannot afford to go into a 3-0 hole. I mean, reverse sweeps are hard enough, but in the grand finals, and you add that extra map, you have to win. So you have to string together 4 maps in a row. It just takes so much out of you. So if you're Primal, put everything you have into this next map pick and whatever you decide to do.
Yes, that is the one thing. To them, they need to say it's 0-0. It is 0-0. We're gonna go in. Let's do one team fight at a time, one engagement at a time, one pick off at a time, and let's work from there. That is going to have to be their mindset. If their mindset is we're down 2-0, we got to start up reverse sweep and get a map, get some momentum going. That's when mentally you might make a mistake or two. It is the one thing they do not want. So this is very, yeah, like you said, this is must win. This is straight up, we must win this. To me, you have to win it convincingly to give yourself the momentum. Otherwise, this is, if it does not go well, then oh boy.
Yeah, I agree. Full control of the mentals is going to be the key to Primal coming back in this fight. We do know map 3 is going to be an escort map. Problem for me is, I mean, for the most part, they have wanted to play Reinhardt based compositions, Primal Warriors, and that just isn't super well suited to any of the escort maps. But we did see some success on a little bit of Winston, a little bit of Zarya. So maybe we start to look to see that, and maybe that map choice pick might reflect that. I'm just not sure where they go with this map pick heading into escort.
The problem with escort is the long sight lines, and more than likely it is a Hanzo, Widow, Sigma on offense and defense. That is what you see most times in the competitive ladder on these escorts. It doesn't matter which one is it. Sigma is almost always the preferred tank on these. So it's going to be interesting to see if that is the case. Can one of these two tanks play Sigma at a high level? Can these teams have a comp around the Sigma that would work? And of course, there's also the whole hey, let's just spawn camp them, see if it works. I have seen that happen multiple times. So who knows?
Ironically, the one map that we have the map pick in from Primal is the one map you can actually get away with playing Brawl, and that is Shambali Monastery. Um, there's plenty of times I even saw it in OD, not OD. It was in the grand finals of the console open division where red team they just played Rhine May Reaper, I believe, and they just held in that first small room, just contested the point, and just never let any room happen from. It was MME, so it's a very viable strategy. And it's the one escort map I feel like Brawl is you can play that here.
You can play that here. I played on this actually competitive last night, twice and won both. Shocking, I know. Uh, yeah, this is a very interesting map because you got the high ground, so you can easily see a Widow or a Hanzo. You can see a soldier shooting and do the helix rockets like you saw Kari did on that last map on defense, that high ground, able to get the shots down above and get the 2 huge pickoffs. Uh, Part of me wants to see Ramatra on this map because obvious reasons. Because Ramatra on this map just, it feels like it's Ramatra map. But yeah, this is gonna be probably straight up May, Reaper, Lucio, Kiriko, Ryan, Brawl.
I think
You
it's
could
just going to
probably see
depend on your team. Sigma is definitely a viable strategy on this map, especially with like a Hanzo Widow type scenario. I mean, really, it's just going to be what does your team favor and what do you like to play. As we are getting you guys loaded into the Shambali Monastery very shortly, um, it will be Primal on the attack with Bingus defending. I believe that is I believe in the rules. It's Primal gets map choice, Bingus gets to pick attack or defend. So they feel very confident in their ability to not let Primal get any kind of positive momentum with a good attack.
Nah, if you're thinking about mentals earlier, your Bingus, your mental is through the roof, so to speak. Of we beat them 2-0 first map, we full on held them. That last team fight, that last map was just straight up great team coordination. Bingus has momentum right now. Their mentals have got to be through the roof, and they're thinking, let's hold them right here, and we do our attack. We push a little bit further. We go up 3-0 and have a stranglehold on this series. So both teams literally have the same mindset, so to speak, of they both want to get the stranglehold and get the momentum. So this is still anyone's game. I have seen a lot of strange things happen in this game from like 6 years of playing.
Yeah, as we see Bingus playing this Sigma composition, they're looking to go with a Soldier Cassidy, which generally is not the DPS you would tend to play on this map. It'd be more of a Widow Hanzo, but still hit scans do be hit scans as we see Primal on this Ramacha trying to get into the face of this Sigma, and that's going to be the key, is not allowing Sigma to have this space as they are going to get in. Beans finds Akari, and there is a res available for Bingus, but they are ensuring that doesn't happen. Immortality Field has come out, and the pressure from Primal is huge, but in the process, Rose has found Beans, but the spawn's currently in the favor of Primal as Bingus is going to back up and regroup.
Yeah, that's a smart engagement there. Start backing up and give them to get there, figuring out how you want to do it. But hey, you hold them for a little bit, you kind of get in your head a little bit, and then also you're kind of figuring out your strategies and how you want to engage this next fight. So smart for Bingus to know when to engage, when not to engage, when to back out and regroup.
Yeah, I mean, Bingus has just been really good at controlling their momentum and their situational awareness of when to put. They're just playing extremely smart Overwatch, as we see Beans swapping over to the Cassidy now, as they're going to continue to path the same way for Primal. It worked for them the first time, so I don't surprise as the Flux comes out. It's going to find a couple that unfortunately does not find any kills, as the heals are now in there as the Suzu has come out, and that's in a good cooldown to get out of the way, but they have found Atomic Man in the process. Immortality Field is down as well, but unfortunately they let the res happen, as now we see Alexa with the tactical visor looking for some more kills. They do find them, and now this is Primal's chance to really start getting some cart progress.
Yeah, that was a good engagement by Bingus to get the early pickoffs and the good gravitic flux to come out. So I will say Rose is playing really, really solid on the Cassidy so far this game. So that's kind of one of my spots that's caught my attention between these two teams.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Primal gets to come into this fight. They have this Annihilation online, which is going to be tough for Bingus, because normally you would use a shield to block it, but you can easily break that Sigma shield and just keep applying the pressure. But Rose has found Alexin in the mid game. You just cannot let that happen. They're going to commit Sound Barrier to try and win this fight anyway, but the High Noon is used and gets fives. The good thing is Primal did not commit any other ultimates to that fight.
I'll make it worth your while.
So this has been very interesting right there. Again, I'm talking about Bingus, like how they engage versus disengage and how they pick their fights and pick their spots is very, very impressive. Very high IQ from this team. Like you said, they played together for years and they know each other from previous tiers. Very well coordinated, very good strategies coming from them.
Yes, we see the overclock coming out from Akari, but in the process, 2 picks come out from Primal Warriors as they are now using their ultimates to full advantage. And I think the best part of this point cap for Primal is they just used High Noon Kitsune Rush. They banked that Annihilation for the next fight.
Yeah, the Annihilation will win you a fight, slash you could use it to make space for your team and get some good sharp pushes. So good for fives. Good for Primals to have these 2 ults, and your Annihilation can really help you in this next big engagement.
Yeah, this second point is very hard to take as an attackers, as the natural high ground is just so good, as Nth Beans has found Rose in the process, as the put Bingus on the back foot as Fives is now going to get aggressive with this annihilation. They found the res onto Rose, but it may not matter. The flux is there, and it's going to get the kill onto Fives, but Alexin has found 2 picks, and down goes the Baptiste, and Beans is starting to diff Rose on this Cassidy. As that is going to be the point cap for Primal. As I think we lost Sam, so I'm gonna keep going.
That's good.
As the now that we're heading into point C, 3.5 minutes on the clock. Very impressive coming out from Primal. They have a tactical visor from Alexin to work with. Bingus, now that they swapped over to this Wrecking Ball composition, they just don't have any ultimates. They have to take some dry fights now.
Yeah, they gotta take some fights coming up right here. Now Bingus kind of do some switching around to see if they can get some momentum back going their way. Primal's been coming out, and like I said at the beginning, getting a good mental going. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to have. So overall, very good showing by Primal, trying to get some momentum going their way and trying to turn the tide of this battle. So we're going to see, can they push it all the way, and can they get this very important win?
Yeah, and unfortunately, Bingus wins that dry fight without committing a single ultimate. Now they've basically built up to 3 of their own. Primal gonna have 4 to come to this fight, but I just feel like knowing you were up in this ultimate battle, considering, you know, Bingus has completely swapped their composition, that you should have made some should have gotten aggressive with those ultimates. But we now see Fives making the swap off the Ramatra, going to the Winston. So it's going to add that dive element, trying to go after Door 21 on the Zen, or maybe Rose on the Hanzo.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That Winston pick is going to be used 100% on Door and then 100% on Shadow. Unless Shadow can get one of them clutch sleep darts coming in, that's going to be probably the big target for Fives. And I think Bingus knows it and Primal knows it's going to be Winston's got to kill the supports, and Bingus, we got to keep our supports alive against the Winston dive. So it's going to be a war of attrition coming up right here for these next few minutes.
As we see a sneaky Atomic looking for the kill, but unfortunately himself is Icarus flies too close to the sun and gets killed himself. As the tactical visor from Alexin is popped, does not find anything. Unfortunately, they are looking for the great position, and Beans with the high noon finds 2 kills, looking for more Fives, who's now swapped over to the Sigma, gets Akari, and I like the swap over to the Sigma, has that accretion mark to help deal with Atomic Man. The minefield is out, but it's not going to matter as it is taken care of extremely quickly, as Atomic Man is so low. And I think this finally, as the sound barrier comes out to help sustain a nanoed Rose, who just cannot find these picks, and Beans is stepping up on this Cassidy, and that is going to be a point cap for the Primal Warriors.
That's what they needed. They needed that point cap. They needed that win. They need that momentum. But this game is still more. Bingus is yet to attack on this map and push the payload. So interesting what they're going to do. So we're far from over, but that was really a good attack by Primal. There's some momentum going, and they're starting to get there where they need to be to start trying to reverse the fortune. So hats off to them.
Couldn't agree with you more. And that was, to me, you know, especially coming out from Fives, just really nice swaps all around. Their Ramacha worked out for them so well, but once that Wrecking Ball came in, they realized, you know, Ramacha's probably not the way here. They tried the Winston, realized that's probably not going to work either, but ended up finding the right target tank to land on, which was the Sigma, and it played very well into their favor. As we now move over to the defense, and we see Primal going to continue to stick to playing the Sigma, but they're going to play a Soldier Junkrat with the Sigma.
Soldier Junkrat Sigma's very, very interesting. Soldier's been very good for both teams so far in this 2.5 maps. And Junk just spamming is just one thing you do not want to be in a hallway or small corridor with. So this is going to be very interesting when Bingus has to go up against this setup.
Yeah, so what Bingus is playing, they're kind of playing this Banana Rush that was very popular in the grand finals of Overwatch League last season, where you kind of just speed boosting with the Sojourn and the Lucio and the Winston into these teams and allowing the Reaper to wreck shop. I'm curious how this is going to play into a Sigma composition, as Sigma has that rock available, plus an eat to eat any kind of Reaper damage coming in, a big anti-nade coming in, and they do find Shadow because of it. Unfortunately, they have traded out Nth Beans, but for Primal, they have the res available. Bingus has to shut this down, but they found Akari with the accretion rock, as now they are trying to get onto Atomic Man, but look at where the cart is. They have totally lost sight and allowed so much cart space, did Primal Warriors, but they have found the picks, and I feel like this is the point where Bingus is going to start to look to wait and be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, right there was good attacks. It was kind of bad trade-offs if you're Bingus and good for Primal, but you gotta pay attention to the cart. You do not want a C9. You don't want them to push it farther than you realize. That is the biggest thing, is the cart pushage. You do not want to lose track of that if you're the defensive team, because you blink and there's gonna be the point right there, and you least expect it.
And during all that analysis, just a wild Atomic Man was in the backlines of Primal Warriors and basically killed everyone. So nicely done by Bingus to really set up this final attempt to get point one.
Yep. We're probably gonna come back together for the team white and try to engage and try to get a pick off on the Kiriko is what I'm thinking I'm gonna try to do.
As we see the tactical visor from Alexan coming out, it forces Akari's Reaper to go back, and Nth Beans in the meantime, who swapped over to the Reaper, which I think is really smart to help put pressure onto Atomic Man. They call Reaper the Winston killer for a reason, and we're already starting to see that pressure work to their advantage.
You know, Reaper is such the tank buster he's built and designed to do. That's why he's used so much to kill so many of the big bulky tanks with the big shields or large health pools. I mean, he's going to steadily regain health without really needing any kind of resource. So that's why he's such a crucial part to taking down the tanks.
As Akari has found Nth Beans, we see the overclock being popped from Rose, but got killed in the process. But between the Death Blossom, Kitsune Rush, and the Primal Rage, Bingus through the kitchen sink and gets rewarded with the point A capture.
That's a very good engagement, very good team fight. The Reaper these Reapers are just focusing these tanks hard, and these supports are trying to put resources into these tanks to keep them up as much as possible. It's just a war of attrition right now. It's whoever gets the biggest blows winning these team fights. And we're still far from over from this game, as the card is getting more and more pushed.
Yeah, the one dangerous thing for Bingus, I feel, Sam, is they had to throw pretty much everything except the sound barrier into that fight, and now Primal gets to take these strong defensive positions, and they have ultimates of their own to commit, as we see the Valkyrie coming in, and they're going to look to egress onto the backs of Bingus, but they are just backing up and not, and I mean, the good thing is Primal's being smart and knowing their Sigma composition. They thrive on space, so you can't take too much space, because then you're going to come into a close-on collision with a Winston-based composition. As Nth Beans has gone down, the Flux comes out, finds one, but doesn't get enough, as Akari has found people in the backline. Make that 3, as Bingus is looking to bring this card all the way to the point B.
Yeah, Bingus. Both teams are trying. It's like the brawly diviness versus let's get the poke, get the pickoffs. Two different attacks and defenses, and it's just the chess match right now is very much so fun to watch. Very good chess match from both teams.
As now we see the Arista composition coming out, and the Nano Blossom onto Nth Beans finds its value and does its job. Gets the kills with the follow-up from Fives, and now Primal Warriors has found their footing, and they now look to continue to defend point B with just under 2 minutes left on the clock for Bingus.
Yeah, that was a huge play, but it did cost you 2 ults and your Nano and your Death Blossom. So that's going to be interesting how Bingus wants to engage on this one. So it's going to be interesting to see how they want to try to get right here and try to get this second point and try to get a bigger time bank than Primal did last time, and what they can do.
As the pulse bomb comes out, finds a raise. That's a lot of healing off the board for Primal. The good thing is they have the Moira to pull out the heals as the overclock has come out, finds Rose, but has not found any more. But Beans has found the response kill onto Akari as the Primal comes out from Atomic Man. But can he find any picks? It doesn't, because Beans has found Shadow and Door 21. Down goes both the supports for Bingus, and any hopes of them capping this point.
You know, whenever you lose both supports, it's pretty much like, hey, we're not going to win. That's the one thing that you really don't want to lose is both supports right there. I think the Death Blossom for Bingus right here, Hikari, is got to be huge. It's got to be huge for them to win this.
Yeah, not only can they combo that, but they have a Kitsune Rush they could throw in to even increase the speed of it. As we see Atomic Man going over to the Diva now, hoping to be able to eat a lot of this damage from Nth Beans, as there was just so much pressure on him from that Reaper. So their goal is to try and get rid of this defense measure as quickly as possible, as that's a lot of pressure. Out comes the Coalescence to keep the team alive from Candy, which is going to give Akari a free Death Blossom. Finds the Lucio, but not much more, as Beans has found him in response. But they are now in a great position for Ant Beans to use the Blossom, and it's going to get Atomic Man pretty low, but do they have the follow-up? Candy's been taken down, but more picks have come in for Primal as they look to turn this map on its head. Overtime has ensued, and they have a Terra Surge Pulse Bomb. Primal, as Bingus only has a sound barrier, but their Lucio is in spawn right now.
It's still anyone's game. This is so close. You could cut the tension with a knife. This is played on a razor's edge. It's first team to make a big play versus first team to maybe make a big mistake.
As the sound barrier comes in, the pulse bomb gets thrown out. Akari has found fives, but there is so much more they're going to need. They are finding the picks. The sound barrier came in from Primal Warriors. Pulse bomb from Rose finds Raze, as this is an incredible final fight. It is basically a 3v2 as Candy has found Shadow. This is ridiculous, as we now see Atomic swapping over to the ball, and I think they did it. They get this point, and they they get they do touch. 1.3 meters left, and they come in and touch. They have to keep contact on this car. It is a 4v3. Primal Warriors have the advantage. These overtime spawns are going to favor Primal going forward, so you cannot afford to lose anybody if you're Bingus at this point, as Chaos has assumed on the point. As we see Atomic Man spinning to win Alexin, and amidst the Chaos has found Rose, and Akari comes in with the Death Blossom to save the day as the point capture comes in for Bingus.
Sheesh, that was so nutty and so close. That was just, I didn't know they were going to contest, not contest. That was a very good attack and defense by both teams, but it was just a clutch Death Blossom by Bingus. That was just massively nutty, my good sir.
Whew. Basically 1 minute on the clock left for Bingus. They just, I mean, it doesn't matter. This is escort. As long as they bring this cart home, you will get another attempt at this. The Kitsune Rush comes out for Bingus. The Death Blossom for Nth Beans finds Shadow, which I think is going to be enough to ensue them this team fight win, especially with this Coalescence from Candy being able to add that necessary heals to the team. They do lose Alexin in the process, but it's not going to matter. Primal's won this fight.
Yeah, Primal's going to easily win this fight. The one thing I've noticed is Bingus is getting more of the team kills, but Primal maybe get more of the 2 or 3 big pickoffs when you least expect it. So a team of multiple team fights and 2 different teams in a nutshell. It's still, these 2 teams are treating us to one great game right now. Great coaching from both sides.
As we see the minefield coming out from Atomic Man, buys a lot of space and 2 kills. Beans has found Atomic Man in response, as I feel like if you're Primal, you have to back up and regroup and get ready for one final attack, as we are looking at a few ultimates on both sides. Who's going to get aggressive and make things happen? Raze gets 3 in the sound barriers. The sound barriers are now exchanged. The law of equivalent exchange is applied as the Death Blossom from Akari, he gets killed mid Death Blossom because of the javelin from Fives. This is what Primal needed. The Death Blossom comes up for Nth Beans, does not find anything, but the picks are now found on the back of all that damage, and that is going to be all she wrote. Primal fires back on Shambali and makes this a 2-1 series.
That was a very contested, very competitive, hard-fought win for Primal. That's what they needed. Now they're like, hey, we're down. We're up 1-0. We got to win 3 more to win. They got momentum. So let's see what happens here, because this is the big momentum and confidence and mental builder they needed. So hats off to them. They needed it more, and they got it. Hard fought, much respect. Hard fought. They earned it, and they needed it. And
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. 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 Yo. Cash Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours.
Welcome back, Overwatch players. We are in an incredible series. It is the NA Console Diamond Tier Grand Finals. It is 2-1 Bingus over Primal Warriors, but Primal just won Shimbali as they're looking to change the tides in their favor.
They were Bingus won the first map 2-0. And then on King's Row, it was very competitive, and Bingus eked out a win. And then just in the kind of same order, Primal Warriors eked out a big, monumental, mental boosting win. And it is 2-1 Bingus. But after the last two maps, this is anyone's series. We have seen Ramatra be played. We've seen Wrecking Ball, Winston, Diva, Zarya, Orisa. We've seen almost every tank being played, and the supports are putting a lot of resources into the tanks. And then on the DPS side, the Cassidys were popping off, the soldiers are popping off, the tracers are popping off on both teams. So this is probably going to go down to the wire. I cannot give a prediction on this map, as this is a push map, so it's going to be a brawl basically. Whoever gets robot first then starts pushing it. So I have no idea what we're going to see.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we've been pretty much seeing every color of the rainbow when it comes to tank DPS support. So we've seen it all over the place. As you mentioned, we are going to push. It was the pick of Bingus, who just lost Shambali, and they have chosen to take us to Esperanza. And I do see a swap coming in for Bingus for sure. We see Boeing Sun coming in on the tank for Bingus, and Primal Warriors. It looks like they have Filthy Ranku coming in for their tank as well. So lots of swaps coming in all around.
So Frank's coming in, and Boeing Sun is coming in. Very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. So we shall see with more. Both of these teams have deep rosters and a lot of deep benches. So, like you said at the beginning, there's going to be swaps from both teams regularly back and forth. This is the chess match that we love to see. Both teams know each other so well. Both teams are just trying to get the edge and trying to do the weird substitution slash the smart substitution to give their team an advantage. So again, I have no idea what we're going to see in this game, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, talking about specifically about Esperanza, you tend to see a lot of different kinds of compositions that can work in your favor. I've seen teams force the Reinhardt. Ramatra's very good. Winston-based compositions tend to be the end-all be-all on this map. But taking a look at both of these teams, as I said that, I was a little bit wrong on who was playing what based on the lobby. It looks like Rose is going over to the tank, and Boeing Sun is coming in to play DPS. So Rose is sitting on the Wrecking Ball. So they're looking to play very divey-based compositions, with Boeing Sun looking to sync up on the hacks and Akari to follow up with damage, especially dashes. But Primal Warriors, they're taking a page out of some of the stuff we've seen from Overwatch League this weekend, and they're going with the Junker Queen with the Reaper Soldiers. So it's a lot of damage, and it's all about getting into the face of this composition and eliminating targets quickly.
This is the first time we have seen the Junker Queen. And Junker Queen can do a lot of damage, and the shout ability can heal up and a lot of speed boost. With Raise on Lucio, that's extra speed that can be used to engage and disengage in team fights. So, gonna be interesting to see how how they're gonna adjust to the Junker Queen.
As we see Primal getting an early cart lead as Neptune has found Raze. However, as that is going to be devastating for the composition of Primal Warriors, it relies a lot on that Lucio speed boost, and cleanup has ensued for Bingus. I mean, Filthy Frank has found the Genji, but it's not going to matter. Bingus wins the first team fight, and they are going to start getting some meterage on this cart.
Yeah, the Sombra, after her buffs and hacks, she's been a very popular pick. And then for the Brig, ult got reworked, so to speak. I figured we'd see more Brig before now, but Brig can do a lot of healing and put out a lot of healing more than you realize, and that ult's gonna be devastating with a Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, as that throw from Gracie forces the translocate the TP out of the fight, as they're now looking to apply the pressure onto Akari, and they go down. Filthy Frank on this Junker Queen is filthy with it, as we've seen even more picks coming out from the Primal Warriors, and Bingus is just doing the right thing, backing up, living to fight another day. As we see, unfortunately, the stagger onto Door 21, and now Neptune. Primal Warriors are going to get a lot of distance out of this now.
They are. You touched on it first, but Primal Warriors with this this um this comp with with Junker Queen, it is going to be a lot of damage. It is going to be some sustainability, but it is going to be a lot of damage, a lot of speed, a lot of shouting, a lot of healing. So it's a lot for Bingus to try to out heal through and also out damage.
As they now know that commanding shout cooldown is used, they need to get aggressive now. Unfortunately, in the process, they allow the point to be capped, and no matter what, even if they end up winning this fight, that is devastating for Bingus, as we now see the Blossom only finding Rose, as now the picks are going in Bingus's favor. But as I mentioned, the damage has been done. Point was captured, which is devastating for these push maps.
Yeah, the damage was definitely done right there. You know, a lot has just been going on. Just good abilities, good patience by Bingus, but you're allowing Primal to get such good pushage, and you're allowing to get such everything else. It's very, very interesting to see, like, can you come back from this or try to match them later on? If this keeps up, you blink and they're gonna have a massive lead or be more higher up than you realize.
But in the process, Rose and Neptune have been taken down without any ultimate usage from either team whatsoever, and winning these dry fights for Primal is key, because Bingus had 4 ultimates. They gotta be more proactive in using these.
They do gotta be more proactive. They gotta be more smarter. And it's just again, you're gonna see contrasting styles of a brawl versus a dive. It's just see which team is smarter with their engagements, because you get 2 different engagements where they're in everything.
There we go. That's what we need to see. That EMP finally committed, as well as the tactical visor. The Coalensis is thrown in to try and keep the team alive, but they've lost Filthy Frank in their tank in the process, and Candy's gone down, as that is what we need to see from Bingus, who have now swapped over and matched this Junker Queen composition, as I suspect a swap from Boeing, as Sombra's not normally what you play with Junker Queen, and we do see the Tracer now coming out.
Yeah, Sombra's not usually played. You want more damage, either burst or more poke damage, usually more burst. That's what you want to see. So yeah, Sombra is usually not played at all with Junker Queen, so you're right, and good call right there.
Yes, the one problem I can see with this Bingus composition is no Lucio to go along with their Junker Queen, as it is so imperative to not use the commanding shout to engage, but to use the sound barrier to engage and to use the shout to sustain in these fights. And we see that already playing out as Rose is down, because they did have to use that commanding shout to engage. Pulse Bomb gets thrown in as Akari has found Alexa, but it doesn't matter. Primal Warriors have won the fight and are going to continue to add meter on the cart, and they even force out the Neptune Transcendence.
That's huge to force out Transcendence that late. You did not need that or want that at all. If you're Bingus, unless you want to swap off. That's huge right there for Primal Warriors.
as we continue to get this push on the cart. Problem for Bingus is they have nothing to deal with this incoming rampage from Filthy Frank. Is he going to make the big plays and set the team up? I don't even know if they're going to need it. Rose is down on this Junker Queen, and that is devastating for Bingus as more picks are coming in, and they're just forced to back up. We might be looking at a full cap here from Primal.
We could see a full cap from Primal. It's just they were just pure aggressive versus Bingus has been more of a poke, be smart, pick our fight engagement. This has been very, very different from the first map we saw from Primal Warriors.
As Ant Beans gets a double kill with Death Blossom, but 2 ultimates have come in from Bingus. The Rampage and the Pulse Bomb has found 2. So now we are in a 3v3 with the spawns favoring Bingus. So I think Primal Warriors are doing the right thing and backing out. Unfortunately, they have found Ant Beans, but because of where the cart is right now, everyone on Primal Warriors, because they have those forward spawns unlocked, should be able to get a nice reset at the mid ground.
They are. Those forward spawns have had a lot, and they're going to be able to engage quite easily. So, and it's one of the things I'd like to see is with the giant robot, does one of these two teams try to use it as shielding / protective? That's the one thing I'm looking forward to seeing.
As Bingus has no more ultimates to commit into this fight, as Primal gets to come in with a Coalescence to use. Alexin, however, has a lot of pressure on the Tracer, but the Commanding Shout is there to bring them up to speed, as now we are forced. The Rose, who's on the Winston, has no jump. I feel like if you're Primal, you need to move in and know that that cooldown is not available. Pulse Bomb comes out, finds Akari, picks from Primal, who are just looking so incredible on this Junker Queen composition. Bingus has not found an answer so far.
They haven't found an answer, and I think Primal is just like, I think they're cranking up the aggression is what they're doing, and they're just saying match our aggression, match it, and I think they know Bingus is not going to match as long as they're running like the Winston comps or the mirror comps, and I think that's the one thing Primal can do to win these engagements, win these team fights, and tie this series up and go 2-2.
Yeah, as one has to start to question if all these swaps coming out from Bingus, especially Roll swaps, are coming to their advantage. We saw Rose on the DPS earlier, who's now playing tank on this map. Is that hurting them, that they're not having these established, like, you know, you can swap, you know, who's, you know, people coming in and out, but normally you don't want to be swapping people from role to role.
You don't. Unless you don't want roll to roll, you want a specific, like a one trick is what you want. When you switch from like a DPS to a tank and bring another DPS in, it's kind of weird. There goes your synergy. There maybe goes your shot caller from the last 3 games, last 3 rounds. So it's gonna be. So I don't think it's worked that much for Bingus, but
as we see
still
the sound barrier
in this game
engage from Bingus, they've lost Boeing Sun, but they found Candy, which I think should net them the team fight win. The Death Blossom gets thrown in by Ant Beans, but it doesn't matter. That is a lot of hell that Rose has, but they found the pick in the end. A sound barrier is now used by Ray to keep them up in this fight, and Alexin has a pulse bomb to try and throw, but I don't think they're going to need it, as Bingus is just looking to back out.
yeah, Bingus is just. They're just going to back out and regroup right here. Primal's just going to figure out their next engagement with the shout and how they want to do it with these 2 ults coming up online. So I'm expecting maybe both ults to come out and release the pulse bomb on Lucio.
Yeah, as we now see the shout got out, and that was very nicely done by Bingus, knowing the shout was gone, getting aggressive. We now see Rose on the Reinhardt, so they said, you know what, you've been aggressive with this Junker Queen, we are going to get aggressive right back at you. But is it too little too late? They have 100 meters to make up with only 25 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, you got 100 meters, 25 seconds, and you're going to be in overtime until either you push it all the way or you were pushed off the robot or you all die. So this is a must-fight territory for Bingus. They got to win every team fight to win to go 3-1. Primal Warriors just got to win 1 engagement, and they tied the series up 2-2 with a whole lot of momentum on their side.
As a tactical advisor from Akari gets a lot of people low, but that forced out the Coalescence from Candy. As we are looking at a possible rampage, they have to make sure that they are ready, because the Zeus has been used. They found it. They found the rampage. The sound barrier has to be used in response because of all of this. Overtime on the point as everything is going in favor of Primal for the moment. They are looking for the picks in the backline, and they have found Rose. Down goes their tank, and any chance of Bingus trying to come back in this series. Alexan pops off 3 kills on the Tracer, and that is all it. Primal Warriors have fired back and tie up the series 2-2.
Yeah, I wonder why they put Rose on the tank versus and bring Boeing Sun on DPS. I figured they would have kept either one of their previous tanks to be the tank player. Kind of questionable decision, but in any event, it is 2-2. Primal looks like a complete different team from the first 2 maps versus the last 2 maps. So we're 2-2. There's at least 3 maps left, and it's anyone's ball game. I have no idea what's coming. I don't know what we're gonna see, but it's gonna be wild and nutty, sir.
Yeah, they have found their stride. That is Primal Warriors. So we have made the trip around all the map types. So we come back to Control, and we know the map pick is Bingus, as they lost on the previous map, which was Esperanza. We have that map pick in for you guys, and we're going to Lijiang Tower.
With Lijiang, I'm gonna say it. If it's night market, I see Symmetra. It's gonna be Symmetra TP and just turrets and damage galore, and it's gonna be whoever wins. I see that. If we go to that, I see it.
Honestly, given what tier we're in, I would not be surprised if we see Symmetra on all 3 maps. You can make it work. I mean, my question is, how is Primal going to respond? I mean, this Junker Queen composition that they absolutely dominated on, I honestly think they could make it work on Lijiang Tower. It's just a different version of the Brawl. It's just, you're not playing the Rhine, you're not playing the Ramattra. You're just like, okay, let's just do Junker Queen instead. So I kind of like the prospect of them continuing to play this composition on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to see Brawl. I do think it doesn't matter if it's Ramatra, Ryan, or Junker Queen. I think we're going to see Brawl. And I think with the last 2 maps, Bingus has not been aggressive. They've been more picky with their team fights versus Primal's just like, let's just be aggressive, see what happens. And hey, we were aggressive. We won 2 straight maps. Maybe being aggressive is their forte and what they're good at. And this is going to be a very interesting battle because on Control, what are you going to you're more likely to see 2 brawls. And more than likely, what we've seen last 2 maps, I wouldn't be surprised if Primal Warriors came out hyper aggro, just straight up brawliness, beat us on the point, and boom, they get more momentum and start looking very, very solid on these next 3 maps.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, something's got to change for Bingus. We do see Atomic Man coming back in, who's been more of their consistent tank this series. So maybe they have a plan specifically installed for Lijiang Tower. I'm assuming Rose will go back onto that DPS as Nth Beans is not Nth Beans, Primal Warriors is taking the old adage of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, keeping Filthy Frank into the game, and they're not swapping up anything, which I don't blame them. That last map was a dominating effort.
That last map, they literally won, and it was not even close. So I want to see, I think we both can see hyper aggro tanks coming, and it's going to be whoever gets the most resources, maybe the most clutch pick, or the most craziest, nuttiest play is going to help their team to victory. So with this right here, what we see the last 4 maps, Lord knows what we're going to see in this game. I'm expecting anything and everything.
Couldn't agree more. As interesting, we're seeing the Symmetra coming out to go along with the Junker Queen. The problem is with this Junker Queen, there's not a whole lot that they can really speed onto for the side of Bingus. They're playing lots of mobile characters. I feel like you're probably looking at the Ana to go after, but it doesn't matter. Look at all that pressure onto Atomic. He's down already. As Akari's doing all they can on this Pharah, but without your tank, what more can you do? As they're trying to take down Filthy Frank, but he's done a great job and found some cover as the point cap is capped by Primal.
Again, it's just going back to what we talked about, the aggressiveness. Frank is just being hyper aggro as the queen, and it is just like, it is literally just working for Primal. It's like they found their footing, they found their identity. So now it's gonna be interesting to see, can Bingus recap point, maybe try to get some momentum on their own, or is Primal just starting to take a stranglehold on this game in this series and starting to come pull away team fight by team fight by team fight.
As the Rocket Barrage comes in with the anti-nade coming in from Neptune. What a nasty combination we saw there, as that is back to the spawn rooms with you, Primal Warriors. And they only had to use one ultimate. That is disgusting.
Yep, that's what you want, at least. No ultimates. Dry fighter, you just want to use one. If you want to lose 2 or 3, you're like, let's do what we can. And let's just take a moment to appreciate that engagement. That was beautiful. That was a slam. That was a nade, followed by a slam, followed by a barrage in midair, like boom, 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 within like 3 abilities within 3.5 seconds. Very, very good coordination attack by Bingus.
Yeah, this is where this composition for Primal is going to start to struggle a little bit, is re-engaging onto this point, specifically when in combination with this Pharah and this Tracer who can just, Pharah and Sombra who can just continue to be at your backline, as the Sound Beer is thrown in by Raze, not really in response to anything, just to keep the team alive, and the Coalescence comes out now. But the minefield is now in place as we're starting to see some picks going back and forth. There hasn't been any clear indication who's going to win this, but with the res coming in onto Neptune, I think this is going to indicate that Bingus is going to be able to hold, but they have lost Atomic Man on this Wrecking Ball. But the mines that are still there find the kill onto Candy. There goes all the support, and that is going to be a wrap-up for this fight. Bingus continues to build that percentage.
Now looks like Bingus has got some momentum going their way, getting these pickoffs on Beans and on Candy. Looks like now Kari's getting his footing in and putting a lot of damage in his with the Pharah, as the Farmer's combo was just dominating from the sky.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have this rampage, but as I mentioned, with the mobility of these characters, I mean, I feel like maybe you launch it and ensure that you get Neptune and maybe bring him down quickly, but Beans is now swapped over to the Pharah, gets the pharmacy combination down, the EMP just does not matter. The point flip comes in from Primal. They have found the Pocketed Soldier and the Mercy to go along to help deal with it, but this is all so close. Atomic is now on this point trying to spin to win and find these picks. There's still a Junker Queen on this point, and the res is coming to Neptune. This might be the opportunity that Bingus is looking for to really get back into this fight. The hack onto Nth Beans is big, and man, Neptune is really setting these fights up with the anti-nade, and with it being at 99%, it is looking really bad as the sleep comes in onto Akari, but it's not going to matter. Nobody can touch. Bingus takes Gardens.
So for Bingus, after losing the last 2 maps, needed a spark. And like Master Bacon said at the end of that, damn, that's all you can really say during some of that engagement. I think if it ain't broke, why fix it? Are we gonna see Brawl v Brawl? Looks like it.
Yeah, I think the one thing coming into Control Center is it is a brawl-oriented map. So I feel like Gardens was probably going to be the worst map for this Junker Queen composition that Primal's been playing. Yeah, so Bingus is going to be forced to match the brawl. They're going to have a lot of damage between this Junkrat and the Symmetra. So is Primal going to be able to properly deal with this? I think Alexin being able to get into the backline and distract Neptune is going to be a key for that.
Looks like this is going to be a feeling out process right at the beginning. It's going to be seeing who gets the first big pick off or who gets the first big play between 2 teams. It's anyone's ball game.
As that anti-nade comes in, a raise and forces them completely back, as Filthy Frank has found the kill with Gracie onto Neptune, and they found the Symmetra, so that is a lot of damage off the board, as in this brawl mirror, Primal Warriors seem to be getting the better end. I mean, a good 5-6% Bingus gets, but Primal wins the fight, and now they're going to be able to take these aggressive positions.
They are. And it's just good engagement. Hey, we lost the fight, but guess what? We turn around and boom, we win another one, and we can get more percentage up, and we can start to re-engage. I think Beans on the Sojourner is going to get a huge pick off coming up, or the Sojourn ability is going to do a lot of damage, followed by Frank's using the ability of the Junker Queen.
Yeah, as Atomic Man finds Nth Beans and Akari found Raze, and that is a quick retake for Bingus as Primal Warriors need to get back to spawn and reset. Primal, however, gets to come back. Alexin has the Pulse Bomb to be able to use.
Let's see. Both teams are still trying to. Basically, Primal still trying to get some momentum back going, trying to figure out how they want to engage. I think the Junker Queen is trying to stall a little bit, so Bingus is doing a really good job right now of neutralizing it.
Yeah, as Alexin has found Neptune, but can they find any more? Nth Beans with the overclock has found Rose, and they're looking for more, but the sound barrier from both teams come alive as Akari has found Candy, and that is so many heals out of the line for Primal, and that is going to net Bingus the team fight win, as they are now halfway to taking Lijiang Tower.
Very, very good engagement. Looks like Atomic is just kind of matching the intensity a little bit of Frank, and it looks like they're just still trying to match the aggression of them. Looks like Primal's trying to go more pokey style. I think Akari's Death Blossom here. I think he saves it for not this engagement, but the next engagement, and Rose uses that ult.
Yeah, Zakari, she's doing a great job, finds the pick onto Raze. The amplification matrix is out. The immortality field is forced out. The res comes in from Candy, which is going to allow Primal to be able to get some more picks, but it doesn't even matter. The sound barrier is engaged, and they're already down 2 in this fight. Rose comes in with the overclock, finds 2, and is going to wrap things up. 8 seconds left to be able to touch, but I don't think there is anything left that they can do. That is going to be a point capture. I mean, the ball comes in, is able to touch, but you've already taken out the Kiriko in this fight. It is just a desperation coming out from Primal Warriors as Bingus is primed and ready to stop the bleeding. They were up 2-0. They have been responded to, and they respond back by winning Lijiang Tower and going up 3-2 in the series.
Yes, this right here, with it being 2-2, is gonna be whoever gets the big advantage, and whoever gets the most big plays and gets the most momentum for their team is gonna come in handy. And both teams are going on an equal playing field. Bingus came out on top like they did the first time in the control. So it looks like they're up 3-2. It is match point for them. You know, is this the closer where they come in and close it? Do they go up 4-2, or do we go to a map 6? Do we go to a map 7? Can Primal turn it around? Hey, it's pretty good game so far.
As we are in a highly contested match, 3-2 Bingus over Primal Warriors. We are going to send this to a quick break. Bingus is on championship point. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Feel my heart, it's beat tight. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beat tight. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. Let's free fall. Let's free
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason
All righty, welcome back everyone to this matchup between Bingus and Primal Warriors. It's been a crazy one. Bingus went up 2-0. Primal shot back, won the next two maps in a row, and then Bingus was able to take Li Zhang Tower 3-2. So now they are on championship point. Backs against the wall for Primal. But we saw when they were down 2-0 and they had all the pressure on their backs, they came through big. They have picked the next escort map. We will not be going to hybrid because of the chance of drawing. So they have picked to go to Havana.
This is quintessentially going to be the double sniper Sigma shield composition. It is the one composition everybody picks. If we see Brawl, I'll be surprised. This is more than likely going to be Sigma v Sigma, Sniper v Sniper. Whoever gets the first pick off forces the team to back up, is my prediction. If you're Bingus, you win and you're champions. Like, this is fourth quarter, 2-minute drive. All you have to do is win and you're the champion. If you're Primal, this is the stall of all stall, the hold of all holds, and the defense of all defense to force the map 7.
Yeah, as Bingus is looking to hold close with his pharmacy soldier combination, Primal has found it. They are playing the Winston-based composition with a Widow soldier, so a lot of hit scan capabilities as the Baptiste Neptune goes very low, forces out the immortality field, but Akari has found Nth Beans and is looking for more. They have found more. Raze goes down, forces Primal back into the spawn room, but they have found Rose. If they can make sure this res doesn't come in, it's going to make this spawn hold even harder, but reses have come in, and now Primal Warriors are in a really bad spot as Atomic Man cleans up the kills.
Man, I'll tell you one thing, in the beginning of the spawn camp hold right here, Akari, she is putting in so much effort, so much damage as a Pharah. I mean, she is putting an absurd amount of damage into Primal. So
Yes.
that's that, and Atomic being aggressive is starting to pay dividends for Bingus right now, trying to match the aggression with Primal in the first 2 rounds. So we'll see how Primal wants to engage and try to get a key pick off right here and start pushing this payload.
As we finally see some picks coming out from Primal, as we see Atomic Man going over to the Diva to try and help eat some of this damage coming out from Alexa. And Akari is going to continue to play this Pharah very close to this Rocket Barrage, so I can see why they're not looking to swap yet. And Beans on the Cassidy, trying to help deal with Akari, who is just raining damage. She's playing incredible in the skies. Primal has not built up too many ultimates, so they got to rely on another dry fight, as Nth Beans has found Akari, sends her back to the spawn room. Is the res going to be there? In response, it is not. Door has been found by Nth Beans, and that is a lot of kills for Primal Warriors as the cart gets closer and closer to a cap. Atomic Man's mech goes down, and that should be the point cap for Primal Warriors.
It should be the point camp with the picks coming in late. And it looks like right now Primal's trying to focus Akari. She's been dominating in the skies. They're trying to knock out as much of that damage and mitigate as much of that damage as possible, and then do follow through and get some pickoffs of their own and start doing some good ability usage and cycling right now. Try to get some momentum, try to get the second point.
As we move into the distillery, it's going to be tough for Akari. She has not as much room in the skies to work with. I think they're probably just looking for this Rocket Barrage, but she is down. Again, they're probably going to look to res, but Primal's been doing a good job of making sure they can't get these reses off, as Atomic, who's getting a lot of pressure put onto him, is struggling. As we see the artillery strike coming out from Alexin, forcing some of those people off of the high ground on top of the distill barrels, but Atomic has found Nth Beans, and that's going to spell some dangerous times for Primal, but the Nano's gonna come in. The Shatter finds one, but they don't have the follow-up. Akari with the Rocket Barrage has found 2. His response, and that is going to be it. Bingus has finally found some footing in the distillery.
Yeah, Bingus right there. Very good pickoffs, very good. Finally got some stuff going on. I mean, they needed something to stop the bleeding, and good abilities, good pickoffs right there. So, and again, Akari's just doing so much work on the far, man. Just so much damage coming through the sky. That's Bingus is relying heavily on that.
As we see Dor, who's now on the Zenyatta, not the Mercy anymore to get any kind of pocket. And Akari, she swapped over to the Cassidy. So Nth Beans had done a great job against Akari in this Cassidy duel, but the Amplification Matrix Tactical Visor combo is a strong one. It allows Rose to get 3 kills, as that is a team kill gong going off for Bingus.
And more than likely, with that team kill, that's probably going to be enough. They're probably going to get the push it all the way, if not come close to it. Again, this series is just going back and forth, blow for blow. It's like Ali and Tyson. It's just blow for blow, right hand for right hand, knockout shot for knockout shot, team kill for team kill.
As we see Fives now swapping over to the Sigma, which I kind of like, especially going against Atomic Man. Having those accretion rocks to try and throw into the face of that Diva as he tries to dive in. As we see that happening just now, forcing Atomic off the high ground, and with the anti coming in, loses the mech. Dor has found Raze in the process, but Nth has taken any hopes of Atomic getting his mech back. And with the res coming onto Raze, this puts Primal in a very good position. As we see now, them trying to focus Dor, but they're not going to be able to do that. And in the process, unfortunately, they weren't on the cart, so not a lot of distance was gained for Primal Warriors. As we see, Atomic has also now swapped over and matched this Sigma. A lot of pressure now being forced out, but the immortality field is now no longer in play, and that could be all good for Alexa, who's now popped the tactical visor, looking for some kills, has found Akari in the room, and completely isolated as a big anti-nade comes in. Atomic Man now dies because of it. These anti-nades coming out from Raze have been so strong. As Primal Warriors, it took them a little while, but they're going to caps point B.
Yeah, they finally, it took them longer than they really wanted to, but Raze, with those nades coming in clutch, the follow through, and Primal's able to get it. Now they got 2 minutes on the clock, which is, you ideally want more time than that. So if you do cap this, you're probably gonna be in overtime with a minute on the clock if you do attack again. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how they want to matriculate their attack and how they want to their pickoffs and how they want to engage these team fights, and somebody trying to get a cheeky angle kill on somebody.
I feel like the key for Primal Warriors is going to try and force this trans out of door 21, but Fives has found Atomic Man, and the flux is in the air, but they have the Transcendence to try and combat it, and because of the Amplification Matrix, Tactical Visor, and the High Noon, lots of ultimates committed, and that is going to give them the fruits of the labor that is a team fight win for Bingus.
Yeah, Bingus got the 2 pickoffs at the end, able to get Raze and get Candy right after that. So that's what, the 2 DPS ults kind of opened up everything right there. They lose Atomic off the bat. But going forward, other than Atomic being close to the ult, that's literally it for Bingus versus Primal. We'll have ult advantage coming up on this team fight and this next engagement.
Yeah, ult advantage is an understatement. They're going to have 4 ultimates. It's going to start with this Valkyrie from Candy, who's just going to help sustain the team. As Alexian has found Neptune, the flux comes in, but it's not going to matter. The heals are there from Candy as the picks are flying off the board for Primal as they look to continue this pressure on this point 3 attack.
They're putting so much pressure on the defense. It's like a bend not break mentality, and it's just huge pickoffs, huge ability, huge ult cycling. I think Bingus invested so much in the same fight before, and I think it's making back to bite him.
As we see the tactical visor coming out, and Beans finds 2 with the High Noon, and this is everything that Primal could have asked for out of both of these ultimates, and they're going to find the 3rd pick onto Rose, and it is just desperation coming out from Bingus. The Wrecking Ball is here on the point, but it is just a stall tactic at this point. Akari's been found out, and there goes Atomic Man. That is all she wrote. Primal Warriors cap all 3 points on Havana.
I mean, that's from the beginning of the game, you were like, wow, it's going to be hard. Akari in the sky, as far as she's putting a lot of work into it, versus now a Primal adjusted and Primal able to push it all the way and get all 3 points is massive. Now, if you're Bingus, you got to say, all right, it's 0-0. We have to push it all the way with more time left. at a shot at victory. Primal did the first part of their strategy was capping all three. Now they got to hold or maybe go back and forth a little bit, and then maybe the last part of some of these maps and these team fights, get one or two key pickoffs and force a map 7. But going forward, man, who knows what we're going to see from these two teams on this and get this map right here and this attack and defense.
Only 30 seconds here will tell, but it looks like for both teams they're going to continue to play these Sigma compositions, which is no shock whatsoever given the map we are on. We do see that Primal's not even going to try and do a Reinhardt hold like we saw Bingus do. They're just going to play that Sigma and keep their space. An interesting adaptation is they're having Nth Beans play this Reaper, which you typically don't see with the Sigma, but it's a nice little backup unit to have if the Sigma ever gets too much pressure on him, and it makes Atomic Man's job a little bit harder as Rose is playing this Ashe, so they're going to have to be very careful, Primal.
It's going to be interesting to see Door tries to pocket the Ashe or the Soldier. I'm going to see if Rose can get some of these huge dynamites off, maybe at an angle, versus how Primal wants to try to engage with this poke key composition with the Ana maybe sniping from the back line.
Yeah, as the fight is now going to ensue on this first corner, Primal is in a strong position to continue to defend as Alexin is just farming this ultra. Big anti once again coming in from Raze, which forces the players of Bingus back as Rose gets taken down by a stray shot from Alexin. As that is going to pretty much wrap up this fight for Primal.
Man, this is very good game, very good back and forth. Now we're at the point where the spoke composition, there's going to be a bend or break mentality to see who gets the first big play, who makes the first big crucial mistake, or who gets caught out of position. This is the big part of this team fight in this map right here.
As the tactical visor comes out, finds Dora and the immortality field, finds Rose looking for more, but the damage has been done, especially with the nano on top of that. So 2 ultimates gives you a team fight win. So I think all things considered, very good job playing this ult economy game that Primal is.
Very, very good idea. Good job playing the poke composition. They're playing it to perfection. You're picking your spots and you're picking when you want to engage.
As we see the flux coming out, does not get any kills, but it gets the immortality field. Alexin does, as the amplification matrix is now out. As we see the flux rising players up in the air, and we know there's no immortality field to save them. So this is Primal Warriors' chance to start putting some pressure onto these supports. And as the Valkyries force out, but it is not enough to keep Atomic Man alive, as over half the time bank is now gone for Bingus.
That's huge to have half the time bank gone. You're just right here. So like if you're Primal, you're doing a damn good job holding this. You're doing what you want to do. You're bleeding that clock as much as you can, as long as you can, without giving them that much space right here. So it's gonna be interesting with Bingus now going on the Rhine with the brawl. Can it work? Can they able to get bend or break and get this point?
As we see the tactical visor from Alexin coming out, but it's not going to matter. Rose with the overclock has popped, found one, looking for more, but all the cleanup is coming in from Bingus. Primal Warriors, I think they just got to be smart. Back out, reset, because you're going to get another fight here. And Nth Beans has this Death Blossom to work with, because Bingus had to pretty much use everything.
Yeah, Bingus had to use everything to get that right there and switch the team composition around. So it's still... We're at it's like the midnight hour, and you're just like, which team's gonna just pop off that?
They don't
one
touch.
Big moment?
What is this? I can't believe they didn't touch in time. Nth Beans uses the Death Blossom, finds one, but it just feels like it does not matter because they allowed the point capture to happen. That is just absolutely unacceptable if you're Primal.
Wow. That's all we can say is just wow. Like, I have no words.
As Primal comes back. They're going to have the ult advantage and a couple of fights coming on Alexin on this Bastion. It applies a lot of pressure to this Reinhardt shield that Atomic has now swapped over to, which I think is a nice adaptation going against this Sigma specifically, because Sigma likes to keep his space, and if you just speed boost into him, there's literally nothing he can do, as now we're going to get the Nano Flux combination, but there is an Immortality field there to save them, but it doesn't matter. The cleanup is there, and Primal wins the first fight in the distillery.
Yeah, that's what you want is with 2 minutes on the clock right now, you getting your picks. And granted, Bingus doesn't have that far to go from the spawn to where the door is. So, but you see halfway finished right now. And then you're just going to see Alexin probably get that ult soon. And that ult, if you can pop it in like a safe area, you could easily get 1 or 2 pickoffs easily.
As the amplification matrix is now applied to the high ground, forces Primal Warriors back. Akari, she's looking for that opportunity. Sound barriers out. That Death Blossom is online. They've already lost Alexin, so you don't even need it. As Atomic Man has found 2, really carrying the team. Fives has found Akari in response as no one is on the cart for Bingus until now, but the pressure is now onto Fives in this room. Has no one to really save him here. The anti-nade forces Atomic Man back, but really strong positioning that Bingus is in right now.
It's right now, it's just so huge right now. So now it's again on momentum. Bingus is now having momentum. Where Primal had it for the first part of this map. Now this part of the map looks like Bingus is starting to get all the momentum going their way. So
wow,
it's still anyone's game.
I have to give huge shout outs to Raze in that last fight. It was looking really bad that Staggers were going to come in onto specifically Fives, but they, between the damage and then the anti-nade coming out from Raze, forced Atomic Man back, and then they were able to capitalize that with their closer spawns. Akari, she's the one I'm looking at in this fight, has had this Death Blossom for a little while now, needs to make something happen.
Yeah, the Death Blossom's got to be huge. Akari has popped off many times with ults. This should be no secret, no surprise. The ult right here can turn the tides of battle and give them the momentum they need to cap the second point.
As the artillery strike finds nothing, but it didn't matter because Rose went down very early in that fight. But Bingus gets to come back. They're coming up on 4 ultimates of their own, but once again, this Immortality field is getting forced so early, and Alexin has found Door and the supports. Overtime is ensued. Akari, she gets in the backline, finds Raze and Endbeam, so we are in an even. As I say that, Rose with the overclock finds another, and the Shatter finds Fives, and because of these overtime spawns, I think this is going to be a point cap now for Bingus.
Should cap this right here. And it's going to be interesting, but now you're going to have, if you go forward, same time cap position for everybody.
As the Nano comes in on to Atomic Man, Akari found 2 in the back line, and that is it. And Beans using that Death Blossom, and Raze used the Nano. I'm not sure I really like that. There was very low probability of you winning that fight, so to commit that many ultimates, I don't think it was a smart decision, as Beans is now going over to the Widow.
Right, and now you literally got to match them time for time. You got to cap it, and both teams are looking at it. If you do cap it, 1 minute apiece on overtime for next round, unless Primal can hold it right here. But the one thing is, you don't want to overcommit your ults and abilities if you're Bingus. That would literally, Primal would take that every day of the week, and they will capitalize on the next engagement and win it and go to map 7.
Yeah, as Beans on that high ground trying to force out a lot. I feel like if you're Bingus, Beans finds Akari, I feel like you could only afford to lose 1 fight with the time you have left on the clock, as they need to find some way to apply some pressure on it. Beans just has free reign. Alexin has now found Atomic Man and Door. That just gotta say, see you later, Bingus. Back to the spawn rooms. I mean, Rose has found Beans, but the damage has been done.
It's a lot of damage coming in right now. And here you go, the last few seconds. This is die, win or die. This is down to Blaze of Glory. This is win or go home. This is playoff lives. This is a championship. This is anyone's game. This is what
Oh,
you
and
love to see in
Beans has
playoffs.
found Neptune. There goes all of their heals. And now the Valkyries in to sustain the team. And they have found with the Atomic Man, just when everything needed to go right for Bingus, it has gone wrong. Akari found Alexa, but they're still up one in this fight as the sound barrier now has to be brought in. The Death Blossom finds Candy, was able to get the res onto Alexin, but in the process, Beans has gone down. Artillery Strike comes out, has not found anyone, and now they found Alexin as now Bingus is in the stronghold position. Primal has to back up, reset, but they now have lost Raze. This is looking really bad. Fives found Akari, but I don't think it's going to be enough as we see the Moira Storm coming over. Rose gets the rail shot onto them as the Shatter comes out, unfortunately finds nothing. Fives is down, and I think we're going to extras. Oh my goodness, could this map get any crazier, Sam?
No, it cannot be any crazier. This is just going back and forth. Both teams want it. That's what you love about it. Both teams want the win. This is competitive as it can be. This is what you want to see. And now we have overtime. I would not be surprised if it's spawn camp versus spawn camp. I would not be at the least bit all if they try to spawn camp each other and hold theirs fast as long to where if you do kill everybody, there's 0 time on the clock.
I mean, only time will tell from here, but we did see when Bingus had their defense, that's exactly what they did. And as constructed currently, that's exactly what they're going to do. But Primal remembers they don't have a short-lived memory, so they are pulling out on the Reinhardt of their own with that Bastion that really helped set up that quick take because of the damage that you can put onto that shield of Atomic Man.
What needs to happen is Raze has been solid on the Ana. You may want to come out the side door and try to sleep on the Rhine, followed by a nade on the Rhine while Fives gets the best of Atomic. And if that happens, you have the momentum, the tank's down, you can then make space. That is what you're going to need.
Yeah, as now Primal has realized Bingus is here, so now it's all about, I mean, that is another early immortality field from Neptune. I feel like that's been a really bad calling card for Bingus, as their immortality field's been forced out early. Door 21's down. They do find Alexin, but you've lost your Lucio, and the Anti is now put onto Atomic Man, and yeah, this is looking really bad for Bingus. They found a couple of picks, and the res comes in, and yeah, that is a team fight win for Primal.
That's a huge win for Primal. Huge win. Like I said, you got to focus the tank and you got to make your space. And Fives can get that ult charge up. Raze can get that ult charge up. And that's what you need because if Fives can get the ult up, that Shatter alone can get you a team fight win without any other ability or ultimate.
Surprisingly, Nth Beans is so close to this high noon, could be a big factor in determining this fight. I think this turret form's been used a little too early from Alexin. If I'm Bingus, I want to capitalize. I know that I don't have to deal with that incoming damage as the fight's going to ensue. Fives does have that Shatter. Got to look to use it. They've lost Alexin. The Shatter comes out, finds one, but they can't get the kill. The amplification matrix is now out. We have a Nano going to throw it on. Fives and the high noon finds 2. Akari has found Raze, but the damage might have been done. A Shatter comes in from Atomic Man as the picks are going back and forth, but the cart, it was not touched as Primal Warriors get 71 meters as they are trying to send this to a map 7.
Man, that was just so crazy, so nutty. You know, what else would you expect from this game and these two teams? I think you might want to do the same thing and spawn camp them. And then have Raze or Candy go Lucio and speed boost if needed to engage out of there as fast as possible to re-engage with, like, if the tank goes down first. You might want to do it. You might want to go Torbjorn Symmetra for extra turrets.
It looks like Primal, they're going to take a page out of Bingus's book. They're going to do the close spawn of their own, but they're going to go the Bastion. Primal hadn't been doing that on their close spawns, but Primal has really liked this Bastion. Alexin has been really good on it. So, I mean, it's a lot of, again, it's just so much that the Ryan has to deal with once your shield is just broken so quickly.
It is once your shield is down, you go. I have to go to cover. I have to maybe go back and spawn. If you're the attacking Ryan, if you're the defending Ryan, it's not as bad, but it's just like it's just a war of attrition. That's all you can say. But it's just a bloodbath war of attrition between these two teams.
It's actually really surprising to see Primal not play up at the spawn. They're just going to play up at the corner. I mean, they're going to have to make sure they kind of get in early and make sure they take this fight at the corner, because they're playing with fire of being able to come back and actually take a second fight in case they ever lose it. As Alexa's turret form is now out, this is the chance for Bingus to push up, and Rose has now taken down Alexa. Much better use of the turret form. Akari, she's in the backline as Rose is laying down the hammer of damage. Nth Beans has found Rose, but it is too little, too late, as the golden box of victory is just around the corner for Bingus as they are looking to take this forward to Nth Beans is just stalling for some of their players to get back, and it is looking very bad for Primal.
It is looking very bad. This is it. This is win or go home. This is, do or die from both teams.
As the Ryan gets so low, Suzu is out and Fives is down, Candy's out, and that is all she wrote. Bingus are your NA Diamond Tier Console CGL champions. Whoo, 4-2.
What a game, what a series. None as you can say. It was a damn good series between two really good coach teams. Not much else you could say. Hats off to both teams. GGWP to both teams, both staffs, and everything. If anything, I'd like to see them run it back next year. It's a very incredible game.
Could not agree more. Congratulations, Bingus. I mean, even though that was getting, it was very touch and go, you allowed them to come back in the series 2-2. You ended up swapping back, putting Atomic on that tank, putting your lineup back to normal, and showing why you were the best on those first two maps and brought it home for your team.
Yeah, it was just a good back and forth series. It was you win 2-0, then you lose 0-2, and you 2-2, then you win 2 straight. Very, very good solid play across the board from every position. We saw a lot of everything. We saw May, Reaper, Sojourn, Soldier, Far. We saw, you pretty much name a tank. We watched name a support. We pretty much watched it. So very, very good. Very good by both teams. Hats off to both.
All right. And with that, that is pretty much going to wrap up everything for this production. Thank you both teams for putting on an incredible show. Thank you, Sam, for casting this game with me. Thank you, Blizzard, for producing this game. Thank you, Lottie and Joe, for observing this game. Thank you to Headrammer for putting on such an amazing tournament. And thank you, viewers out there, for coming to tune into this amazing game. CGL wouldn't happen without all of you guys out there. And with that, again, thank you, everyone. And tune in, as I believe we still have a couple grand finals left to go. So continue to watch out for those pings. I've been Too Try Hard Ray, joined by Big Sam. See you guys later.
Peace out, people. Take care.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never